Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And today we are talking about it's time to elevate part two. I started this word yesterday and we finishing up the word before I go wash my hair. It's time to elevate. We are in a season of elevation, and because it's elevation time, there are certain things in which we need to do in order to prepare us for that elevation. Um, I was. No, you want me to share that? I had a dream last night, and what I will say about it, I'm not going to share the dream, that we are in preparation, especially those that are waiting for kingdom marriage, for the bridegroom to come. And this is a juxtaposition of Jesus coming for the rapture of the church. If you listen to a lot of these words that a lot of these people be releasing, they like, oh my God, the rapture is like around the corner. We do not know the day or the hour. Jesus is coming quickly, so on and so forth. I cannot tell you when Jesus is coming. And I would caution you to anybody that dare say that they know when the rapture is coming. Because it says, plain as day in the word, you do not know the day or the hour when Jesus is coming. Do we have time? I don't think we got as much time as we think we do. I hear a lot, especially in my spiritual space, sooner than you think, sooner than you think. Now, I used to always think that in relation to my God of day spouse, I'm like, oh, you already passed the date that, and this is the banter I have with the Lord. Like, God, you already passed the date that I would have thought that he would have come by now. But now that I'm seriously thinking about it, he was probably talking about himself. Sooner than you think. Now, do we need to worry about all of the things that we have been standing for? I hear a lot of ministers say this, that are you content with Jesus up until this point if you never got all of the things you've been praying for? I'm going to admit this. Am I content with Jesus? Yes. Am I content with continuing to live in this world as much and as, how do I want to say this? Insane, crazy, demented, so on and so forth, the way our world is right now? Am I content with that as it is, and never receiving the things that I have prayed for? My prayer to God is always this. If you're saying this has to happen in order for me to see the promises of God that you have promised on my life, fine. Let that series of things happen. But if it's me and you, meaning it's you and me, it's me and you, then what we doing? Meaning I always tell the Lord, what we doing? What we doing? If that ain't time for that, or that ain't coming, or that ain't what have you, what we doing in the meantime? In between time. Because that's the way I am with Jesus. I'm honest. So if that was the case, that I wasn't going to receive the promises, meaning the material things, the people, the what have you, what we doing is my review on that. Because that, I talk to him all the time like, so what we doing? What we doing? What we doing? What are we doing? That's my relationship with Jesus. What we doing? I go day by day. What we doing? So, with that being said, as you come into elevation, there are shifts that will come. I remember years ago I had a dream that I was sitting on a top of a pedestal. It was a glass, or I say it was kind of like glass. But when I looked down around it, I was up above the clouds, meaning whatever I was sitting on, this square thing, was so far up that I was above the clouds. I could see no ground below me, just clouds. Clouds, clouds, clouds everywhere. I've had dreams that I was flying, floating, or on some type of circular pathway type thing up above the air, in the sky, above the clouds type thing. I've dreamt of even being at a transit depot, and where all of the trains were and coming in and going was like a futuristic travel port above the clouds. Elevation. You're going to a place that not many people can go, will go, and be able to get to. In order for you to get to this place, you had to deal with yourself mentally, allow the Lord to remove, change, deal with thoughts, thought patterns, behaviors, and beliefs. Emotionally, deal with all of the ways that you allowed your emotion to take control, because some of you are going into career fields, arenas, places, and spaces that literally have, if you are not in control of your emotions, you could be viewed, what's the word? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, as being double-minded, because if you're easy to anger, easy to come off your mouth, all that kind of stuff. So God deals with your emotions before he elevates you. Physically, he deals with your diet. I was just listening to Dr. G the other day, and she released that the Lord made her stop eating meat. God did that to me. I've been off meat. I've been off meat. Has it been 10 years yet? No. I think it's been 8. Because I was still eating meat when I came to God, but I was having such bad digestive issues. I went on a 21-day consecration, and then went on a second 21-day consecration. The first 21-day consecration, I realized that the meat was what was messing with my stomach. The second 21-day consecration that I did, that's when I realized that there were substitute meats. And that's when I started eating substitute meats instead of regular meat. So, yeah, that's where my heart kind of went to eating vegan. He deals with your diet. He even had me. I was on a business call, spiritual business call. The person prophesied to me, because I mentioned just momentarily when I was speaking that I had a headache. Before the end of the call, this woman comes back, prophesies to me, you got to change your diet, because what you're eating is no longer sufficing for what it is that you are doing for the Lord. Diet had to change. And this is after I became vegan. It was just, I was still trying to find my balance. My thing is this: when it comes down to diet, every season my diet changes. Sometimes you're in a manna season. I've been in a manna season. I've been doing a little bit better this season, but what I'm used to eating, the way I'm used to eating, the type of good calories and type of stuff, I'm not eating that way right now. When you notice that your season is drying up, there's another way of noticing it's time to elevate. There's certain doors that are that are closing and other things are opening up. Next, finances. You will sometimes find that your finances will either dry up because you've been in a dry season, or they will increase. If you find that your finances suddenly increase, then you have to shift. I remember there was this one season I was dry on finances. It was so dry on my finances, and I ended up getting a delay. The last amount of large money that I and this was the largest amount I had in my life, because I didn't really get money like that. Before I left the season, I had to switch locations. When I switched locations, my money was still delayed for another month before I got it. And then it was released to me. After I had shifted locations, and then in the midst of the transit of locations, I had to switch mail and locating where the mail was going, because initially the mail was coming from the old location to the location I was at, but just abruptly, just before I received what I was looking for, it got held up because they stopped receiving mail at the other location. And they warned us right after they stopped receiving the mail. So then I had to do a workaround, and it was a bunch of stuff in order to get the finances. And it took me another month or two to receive the money that was delayed. You will get a financial release. Now, sometimes you will find that this financial release is delayed. Some of that is direct financial release. Some of that is through a person. Sometimes you may find that the person that is meant to connect with you, that's supposed to bless you, is delayed. You pray for said person. Some of y'all, as we know, it may be your spouse. It may be a deliverer. Crystal Nicolal did a video, I think it was the last one she did, talking about how do you know this is your season to go, or something like that. And yeah, you deal with financial things. Now, what I'm noticing, and a lot of people have said this, there's been a financial suppression. Past couple of weeks, there's been something going on in the spirit realm, and I haven't been able to put my hand on it. That's another reason why I'm washing my hair today, because a lot of things get shaken loose when I do that. Next, spiritually. Just like I said, I felt something in the spirit realm that's been going on. Spiritually, you're going to feel a dis-ease because you're in the midst of a shift. You may deal with anger. You may deal with depression, oppression, all of this kinds of stuff, because you're elevating, and what you're used to, you can no longer do, and what was being done can no longer continue to be done. And you're trying to find the balance between the two. Okay? So because of that, you're going to run into a little bit of confusion. What next? Socially, your social situations and the circle of people around you, God is going to add or decrease. Because as you are elevating, and you can heard even business people say this, if the circle around you is not changing, and you have the five closest people to you do not reflect where you are spiritually, they got to be changed out. It's just part of your life. Depending on what season you're in, the people around you gonna change. If you're in a dry season, ever notice the people you're around ain't got no money either? If you're in a fruitful season, the people that you're around got money? Oh, uh-huh. if you notice, it's things that are happening. Like if you notice that there are people around you that you can't trust, you need to observe your circle and your surroundings, the people, the types of people that are around you. Are these trustworthy people? Are spirits operating through these people that are untrustworthy? Can you keep those people around you? Are their spirits pulling on you? I've been in seasons sometimes where I'll be looking at God like, God, now you know. God, now you know. Why you got me around this person? And I can already see they got a siphoning spirit on them. They got a depressed spirit on them. And then I start getting depressed. And I'm looking at God like, God, why you got me here? And sometimes God puts you in places. It's like, oh, I want your spirit to help heal. And you be looking at God like, that's a hard case right there. I was just listening to my pastor's wife this morning, and she was talking about how the hardest people that you can pray for is family. It's like, that's a weight that's so heavy on you when you pray for those people. Because sometimes the Lord will sit you in a place you don't want to be around that person, but the God has you around him because the only really reason he has you around that person is because he wants you to pray. You ain't supposed to be friends with him. You ain't supposed to get too close to him. And how do you know that? Every time you try to get close to them, they kind of get agitated by your spirit. Because you're up higher than they are in the spirit realm, and their demons don't like you. It's like sometimes I just be sitting there like, God, is there ever going to be a day that I'm going to find myself in a place that I'm finally at peace with the person that I'm in the living space with? I'm like, and then I'm going to have to question, is like, am I going to be the one? Because we're going to have to find balance. So with that being said, just finding yourself in that season of elevation and understanding how God needs for you to balance, because elevation is coming. The bridegroom is coming. If y'all waiting on kingdom marriage, your husband is coming. And he coming quickly. He coming quicker than you think he is. In the dream I had this morning, we had all gone to sleep, but we woke up. A lot of you need to wake up to the fact that during this season, something is going to happen for your benefit, though nothing looks like it is. It's a scripture in the Bible that talks about they toiled all night. They had to dig the wells or dig the trenches. There was no sign of no wind. There was no sign of no rain. But in the morning, those ditches were full of water. A lot of us have been going through seasons of consistent warfare. God has you in a season of rest, and you're kind of even like, should I be fighting some more? And it seems almost like you're fighting against resting, because I've been feeling that. And even this morning, I was listening to my bishop's wife, and she was talking about how you need to rest in God and allow the Lord to take care of the battle. A lot of us, we need to rest in this season because God is about to bring forth our husbands. But at the same time, it's that space where, okay, we understand that. But in the resting, it's like part of you feels like, should I be resting? Is there something I need to remain acute to? But at the same time, you're being told to rest. And it's like, am I resting correctly? Meaning, am I doing what's necessary to be done? Because I'll be honest with you, sometimes I feel like I'm out of place all the time. I'm like, should I be resting or should I be working? Should I be running for what it is that I'm working on, or should I be sitting back and sitting still? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, but at the same time, I'm always in that state of mind of, let me check and make sure I'm in the right headspace. And that comes from in most cases, 95% of the time, I'm at peace with self. But when I know it's a season that you got to be ready to move, I get in that phase of, it's not double-mindedness, it's trying to be ready at the drop of a dime. Because I know how God works. When God says time to go, you out. It's time to run. It's time to go. It's time to move. So I don't want to be too rested or in too much of a resting state, because if I'm in a resting state too much, then I'm not going to be able to move at the speed I need to when it comes time, okay, run. Then the equivalent to that is you need to be at a rested state, because you need to be able to rest, recuperate, rejuvenate, and get yourself and your bearings right. So I heard the apostle say this once, 3-4 years ago. He said, sometimes being a Christian make you feel like you're paranoid and slightly bipolar. And it's like, so true. Because I'm going to give you this reference from Hollywood. Hurry up and wait. Sometimes it feels like, hurry up, it's time to go. Wait, it ain't time to leave yet. In your elevation season, you want to be prepared. Plus, you know that there's an enemy that is seeking whom in which he can devour. And he's staying on his game. And you're like, look, do I need to still be on my game? Am I missing something? Is there somebody I need to pray for? Is something I need to cover? What is this? Does rest mean that you taking care of this, God, and you want to put your judgment on this situation? Or does that mean that I need to continue to pray in this situation and still cover these situations? Or am I dealing with a level of resistance right now that is trying to get me to stop doing the pattern of the things in which I'm supposed to be doing in this season? Because it is a time to elevate, and the enemy wants to keep you suppressed where you are. And if he can lull you into a level of not doing what's necessary, then you get caught in the trap. I'm going to tell you something I've been perceiving the past couple of days. I've been seeing, I was watching the video game play of Back to the Future. Last night, my dad turned the TV on, and it was on The Thin Line Between Love and Hate. And something else happened yesterday. And it makes me think that the past couple of days, there have been videos popping up about some type of witch and something about the Jezebel. And I'm like, what in the world is it? I get highly agitated and frustrated every time I see this, because of the fact that, look, Jezzy been defeated. Jezzy only pops up 1 or 2 times. She pops up just before your breakthrough, because she monitoring, wait until you get it. Or she pop up right after in order to mess you up after you get it. And see, the resistance I'm trying to understand as to what I'm feeling is the resistance to my elevation. And funny enough, I was listening. What was I just listening to? Stephanie P. She was saying something about that just before your breakthrough, you will notice a level of resistance, and the resistance, matter of fact, she was saying you're going to notice a level of resistance from the people around you. And then I was reading Megan Michelle's community post, and she was talking about people will literally come to pray on you just to stop and block you from getting where you need to go. So understand, we are in elevation season, and this spirit is running rampant. It's trying to keep you from getting to where you need to go. So understand that you are about to elevate into something that the enemy does not want you to have and has not wanted you to have. Before I got into a semi-stable situation in New York, I had an incident where it was a near-death experience. It's the fall I keep telling y'all about. The fall off the escalator. Jezebel tries to throw a blow to you right either before or right after. Now, one subtle way is if they cannot throw a blow at you, they will subtly try to suppress your ability to move forward, because they can't stop where you're going. They can't stop it from coming to you. So what happens is it tries to create a presence. And another young woman I listened to, Servant of God, I think is her name, she said something about, especially for those of us waiting for our God ordained spouses, there's been a level of frustration on our end. And because we're spiritually connected to our spouses, it may also be something to deter them from reaching out to us. Because if they feel our frustration, they're like, no, I don't want to reach out to them right now. And it's not that we're frustrated. I felt the frustration that I was feeling was not coming from me. Now, I do know that my father's been frustrated about something, and because I'm around him, I could have been feeling his frustration. Because I end up pulling a lot of emotional baggage off of him, and I don't even want his baggage, to be honest with you. But because I'm around and I'm spiritually open, and that's another way that the enemy will try to drain you in this season, keeping you around people that drain your energy, make you irritated, make you irritable, and you got to keep praying that stuff off. It's exhausting, because you trying to cover you, and then you got to cover them, and then you got to cover to make sure that the spirits ain't going from them to you, because that's what they want to do. And keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, just keep in prayer, keep in worship. Because even this morning, I felt this spirit of frustration in relation to political topics. Because my dad be watching the news all the time. And I don't even know why I got my TV on mute and the TV got on some political stuff. I can't. Not right now. Politics makes me angry. See, you got to be careful of all of those types of things. And I was in prayer with the Lord, and then all of a sudden I started thinking about how I would have conversations with other people about certain political topics in the places and elevations that God's sending me into. And I'm kind of like, Jesus, the offense. So understand, but you got to be aware of the fact you're going to be in those places. You're going to be in those spaces, and you're going to have conversations with people that are going to have it's topics you ain't going to want to talk about. And it's not so much that you don't want to talk about it. You got to hold your tongue on your... Because there's politically correct, and then there's just honest. And being children of God, if you got heavy levels of discernment, it's like, do I say how I really see this situation or not? But it all comes with elevation. Understand where you're going, understanding what you're dealing with, understanding the people that you may be in rooms and realms with. All of these are levels of understanding in relation to elevation. Understand these things. These are not things in order for you to become fearful, because there's a spirit of fear also going around, but it's operating as a subtle level of path of logic and precaution, because I was listening to something the other day and the person said operating practically, and I'm like, so this is ethical and moral versus practicality. Okay. But what you're calling practical is considered not even getting there. Remember, we are in a time frame where good is being called evil and evil is being called good. And you just got to be careful. You got to pray about everything. Pray about everything. I'm just like, Jesus be a friend. So I'm going to leave this where it is because we can go into so many different directions. But understand that elevation, it comes with responsibility. And the responsibility is not something to be scared of. Pray, gain wisdom, allow the Lord to lead you in that process. Once he's given you the process, he's going to give you whatever test he's going to give you, and then you're going to elevate. All it is a level of advanced understanding, advanced resources, advancing your situation and the people around you. But all of that is a fancy term for growth. You're growing. Know that you're growing. And embrace the growth. It's uncomfortable. This is why a lot of people, don't do it, because of the fact that it takes a level of process to get through growth. But as long as you're willing to do what others won't, you will get and maintain things others will never have. This is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Until next time, bye-bye. I don't know what's happening.